Hello. This is the video for 5.3, but first, pause the video and get your bell work done, and then when you're ready, unpause, we'll go to 5.3. So, let's do it. This is for my A days, so your test for Unit 5 is going to be on 12/5. And then let's highlight the learning targets. So every lesson that we have done has just been talking about another form of a linear equation. Today is standard form. So we're going to be reviewing going from standard form to slope-intercept form. It's y equals mx plus b. And then we're going to be going from a graph to an equation, and an equation to a graph. And those equations will be in standard form. So would you guys take your highlighter and highlight A, B, and C for me? So when we're talking about standard form, A, B, and C are integers, which means they cannot be fractions or decimals. And the extra thing is A, B, and C are not special numbers on the graph. So follow me. When we did point slope form last class, we made this formula, and I can look back at what my original formula was, and I can say negative 2/3 was the slope. I can pull that out of my formula, and I know that that is the slope. We cannot do that in standard form. Standard form is good for a couple things, which is why we still talk about it. It's not the best for finding slope and intercept or stuff like that, but it is really good for word problems. We've done word problems with standard form already, and for the record, you guys rocked them on the test. They're for word problems, and they're also really good for finding intercepts. We know that because we have done it already, and we're going to do it again today. So that's why today is on the easier side, is because it's really a lot of review. Well, we're taking stuff we've already done and kind of adding it a little bit more to it, just a tiny bit more. So here's your big review. We did this in 5.1. Okay, so if you go back to your 5.1 notes, we did this exact thing just with a different problem, on the homework or on the lesson. So our goal is to go from standard form, right? I see x and y on the same side of the equal sign, to slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. And our trick is the same as my step 1, which is get y alone. If I can get y alone, then I put it in slope-intercept form. That's my rule. So if I had to make a little bit more specific steps, we're trying to get y alone. So I'm going to subtract the 18x to the other side. So my specific step 1 is add or subtract, depending on if it's positive or negative, right? The x term. That will always be your step 1. Find the x term, subtract it to the other side, or add it. It goes away on my left, and I'm left with 3y equals negative 25 minus 18x. And then my step 2, every time, is divide the coefficient on y. We'll just say y term. So whatever the number is on y, if there is no number on y, then we're done. But if there is a number on y, then we're going to divide it to both sides. Okay, if I divide 25 over 3, that's negative 25 over 3, sorry. That becomes a fraction, which is just negative 25 over 3. And then negative 18x over 3 is negative 6x. And that's what I put in the delta math. That was part on your 5.1 homework already, and it's going to be the first section on your homework today. When you have what I have, flip your page. Okay, so this is taking from an equation and graphing it. So we're going to do that exactly how we did finding the intercepts in 4.2. So if you wanted to go back to your 4.2 notes really fast and take a look at that, great. If you knew how to do the Bell question today, even better, because it's just that. Okay, I'm going to go through the full-blown math of how to do it. We've been doing it kind of quick for the Bell work and for, reviewing stuff, but I'm going to go through all the specifics should you have forgotten how to do it or why it works. So, when I am finding the intercepts, okay, this is my step 1, find the x and y intercepts. My intercepts on my graph, if I were to look at them on a graph, wherever they are, I'm just putting dots on my axes to show you. Every point that I just plotted randomly, there is a 0 involved in that point somewhere. This point is 0, 8. We're going to pretend that that's 8.5. 8.5, 0. This is 3, 0. Every time I have an intercept, a 0 shows up. So, to find the intercepts, I have to plug in 0, because that's how we reveal them on the graph. That's how we're going to reveal them in the equation as well. So I'm going to start with x because I see that that's first. We're going to plug in 0 for x, and everything else is going to remain the same. So this is where our cover-up method comes from. -6 times 0 goes away because it's just 0. And I write what's left. So think of it as I covered up the -6 times 0. And then I solve for y. Well, it's 5 times y, so I'm going to divide by 5, excuse me. And then y divided by, 30 divided by 5 is 6. That's going to be my y-intercept because that's the one I solved for. Now I'm going to do those again, like that whole thing again, but I'm going to do it for the y term instead. So -6x plus 5 times 0 equals 30. And this is me covering up the y term, right? Because 5 times 0 is 0, it goes away. I'm going to rewrite what's left. And then I'm going to divide by -6 on both sides. And I get x equals -5. So that's my x-axis, not my x-axis, my x-intercept and my y-intercept. And now from there, I'm going to plot them on my graph. Make sure you plot your x-intercept on your x-axis and your y-intercept on your y-axis. That's where I see the most mistakes when I'm walking around, is we just swap them, okay? But y equals 6 means y-axis 6. X equals 5 means x-axis -5. 2 points make a line, connect your dots, and you're done. And that is the second section of your homework. Okay. We're going to do this together. Duh. But we're going to rewrite this all together. Those steps over there, cross them out. That is too much work. I found an easier way that I didn't get to type out. So, step 1 is identify the x-intercept, or we're just going to say the intercepts to save time. The intercepts and the total from the, we're going to say, multiple choice options. Okay, these questions are going to be multiple choice, which is awesome. So let's do step 1 really quick. We're going to identify the intercepts. The x-intercept is -12. The y-intercept is 18. That one's kind of tricky. Like when you're on Delta Math, you can zoom in, right? That's 12, 14, 16, 18. And then the total, would you take your highlighter for me so we can connect the dots? We know what we're talking about. The total is going to be the number that's the same in all of these. That's going to be the number we're shooting for. And I'll show you why and why this works in a second. So we're going to call it capital T for total is 36 for this one. Okay, what we're doing is we're doing the exact opposite of what we did on the problem before. So recap, we took from the equation, we had the coefficients, right, the 5 and the -6, and we divided them to find the intercepts. Well, we're going to do the exact same thing. Specifically, we divided them from the total, right, the 30. So we're going to do that. We took the total, we know it's 36, and we have our intercepts. We're going to divide them to revert back to the coefficients because that's all that's different in all your options, okay? Remember, coefficient is the number with the variable, okay? So step 2 is going to be divide total by intercepts to find coefficients. So it should follow in your brain that if I want to find the x coefficient, I should use the x-intercept. So let's find the x coefficient first. And I'm going to see 36 on top because when we were doing this, 30 was on top every time, okay? 36 on top divided by -12. I put that in my calculator and I get -3. So I'm going to look at my multiple choice options over here and I see that's not a -3, that's not a -3, but these two are. So I've got 2 still in the running. My y-intercept is 18, so 36 divided by 18 is 2. Well, this one's a secret one, so that's not it. It's got to be my last one there. Okay. You can absolutely try it this way. I think Delta Math shows it this way. Like I said, it's a little bit more work. So just to recap what we did before I go, all we did for step 1 was we found where the intercepts were and we said 36 was the total in every single, option. And then step 2 was we reverted back to find our coefficients. We divided by 36 both times by our intercepts to get -3 and 2, and those matched with our last option. Okay. Do your best. Come back with questions. I will be back next class. Me and my baby are just not feeling well, so thank you for working hard today and have a great weekend. Bye.